Welcome to LeonCo and welcome to your weekly video. Welcome to LeonCo and welcome to your weekly video, and on this week's we are continuing our topic for the month of June, and we are continuing our topic for preparing for the perfect storm. And on our third week we want to discuss, just as we discussed on our last month, how could you prepare for the perfect storm, especially in the house market. Well, we want to talk about two things. We want to discuss if you are a house owner or if you are a property buyer. This is very important when it comes to this topic because there are different tactics when it comes if you already own property or do you want to buy property. So let's start if you own property. The best thing that you should do, regardless if you're preparing for a perfect storm, if you are financially stable, or whatever it is your situation, is that you should sit down and think about what is your current budget monthly. What are your expenses? What are the things that you spend money on, and how much money do you save up, that you invest, that you save personally, and that you use for your personal splurges, taking vacations, buying things that you want, and those luxuries that you have. Having that specific budget that you use monthly is something crucial when it comes to preparing for things that you don't necessarily know when are they going to happen or how are they going to happen. So if you sit down and devise yourself the budget that you, let's say for example, you pay $800 on your mortgage, you pay $300 on your utilities. You have a certain idea of how much money do you need for an occurring event where you be stuck at your home, you necessarily have your job as regularly, so you would have that money saved up for a couple of months. Our best advice is that you should always have from 3 to 6 months saved up for this emergency situations. And why is this? Because from 3 to 6 months is a realistic time frame of when things can go back to normal if a situation, a catastrophe, a depression, a disaster happens. 3 to 6 months is a realistic timeline when things can get back to normal. And if you have that money saved up, you won't have to worry about losing your home, being behind on payments. You will feel safe because you already have that money saved up, and you can use it smartly and intelligently so that you can succeed on those expenses that you have. So that is if you are a proprietary owner. But if you want to buy property, if you don't have that house, you don't have those buildings, well, our best advice is, if you're preparing for a perfect storm, if the economic situation is not the best, you should save up the money. You should be piling up that money in an account, in a savings account, in whichever account that you like, and you should be piling up that money, and you should be trying to buy those things cash. Not necessarily getting out a loan, not necessarily borrowing money. Why? Because if the event of a catastrophe happens, the economy collapses, the house market will also collapse with it. So you would find yourself that you will find markets in housing, in properties, in commercial properties, very low prices, even low beyond what the current market value is. And having that cash will give you that opportunity to see to get that property that you've always wanted. So this is something that you should keep in mind when it comes, if you want to buy property, if you want to buy commercial properties, that having that cash in hand, having the capability to go to the owner and say, hey, I have this amount of money, I can give it to you right now. And that gives you buying power, gives you more buying power than having to say, well, let's negotiate, let me go to the bank, let me find the cash, let me find the money. Even though if you want to do that process, having that already, that cash in hand gives you that leverage, gives you that power, and gives you that negotiation power, letting the owner of the property know that you're straight into business, you have the money right in hand, and you are willing to take it from his hands. That is very important when it comes to housing. So this is our 2 cents on how can you prepare for the house market crash and for the perfect storm if it happens. So people always remember to have. Stay safe, stay healthy, and always remember to have that king mentality.